We got Richard Grayson and Chris Larson. Mike Wiesner, Fly Like an Angel. Yep. Norm Hughes, hello, aviary fellow and ladies. Martin Eastburn, howdy from East Texas. And Norm Hughes, howdy from Oklahoma. And Pekka, howdy, everyone, and great Thursday. We have crystal clear night and Uranus on focus with its 2 moons. That's very cool. That swan just looks so much more elegant than the rest of those birds. Well, there's some swans in the background. I guess they look.
Yeah, but the seagulls.
The seagull. I like seagulls. You know.
Those aren't seagulls. Those are terns.
Terns.
I think those are a tern. I don't think they're a seagull.
Oh, I see.
But any as humans just typically call any shore, any white bird that is in the ocean a seagull. It might be a seagull.
I thought we had seagulls flying around our sign out here at Explore Scientific, and I got the binoculars out and realized that they were giant bats. We have giant bats in Arkansas.
Were they bats or were they probably nighthawks?
No, these were bats. Definitely, I could see the shape of the bat wing and everything. And if you look it up, there are some big old bats. And they were swooping around eating the insects.
Yep. That kind of light pollution helps those birds, but, because they get an easy buffet, but it's not the way of nature.
That's true.
Here in South India, it's the painful height of the dry season. In the small town of Kundakulam, the time has come for birds to bring rain. Cattle, crops, the livelihood of the village depends on it. But this year, there has been no rain. The great flocks haven't come to the village, and Kundakulam is facing its worst enemy, drought.
Last year, there were many colorful birds that looked like flowers on a tree. But this year, I don't see any birds on the trees. Usually, before January, they'll start circling, and when the people of the village see them, they know it's time for the seeds to be sown, and they know they'll have a good harvest.
If the birds come, we know we will be prosperous. If they don't come, there will be trouble. The elders say that as gospel truth, and we follow that.
But Kundakulam is a town of faith. Here, children are taught early about what birds mean to their village. They are told of how generations ago, when the farmers were desperate for rain, the birds answered their prayers. Even now, at the village shrine, people are praying, asking the gods to have mercy, to send help. The prayers rise up into the empty skies. At last, a month overdue, the birds arrive, riding the winds of the monsoon.
Well, hello, everybody. This is Scott Roberts with Explore Scientific and the Explore Alliance, and here I am with Kent Marts. And Kent, I guess we have a bunch of, or some viewer submission photos.
That's correct. We sure do.
Mm-hmm.
So, we've got I've got a few more. I could use some more, so I can do another show in a few weeks. Keep them coming. I've started taking a few pictures just with my cell phone, but got some decent ones. And the ones I've gotten so far, I know I'm going to dedicate that show to Dan George because it's his favorite bird. The house sparrow. Yeah, the house sparrow. So I've got some pretty decent pictures for a cell phone. So that'll be in a couple of weeks. I'd love to have some more people's pictures to go with them. So keep them coming. And the email address to send them to is explorealliance@explorescientific.com. So with that, here we go. Look at that. I shared my correct screen. I remembered to turn on the sound, and welcome to On the Wing. And I got to come up with, I keep saying it every week, Scott, find me some birdie music to go with this so we can have some sound with it. So yeah.
I can't do it right now.
There we go. That was a morning dove for those of us.
I do the good and the bad and the ugly theme.
Yeah. Okay.
Whistle.
All right. So we're going to start off with a European edition for the most part, first part of the show. Our good friend Pekka Hautala from Stockholm, Sweden.
Very nice, Pekka. Very nice.
This is a picture of a Eurasian blue tit, and weirdly the we may not have the sound. It shows the sound. Hang on a second. Something going on. Let me stop the screen sharing.
I need to have like a technical,
It's very frustrating when things work and don't work. The sound is enabled.
That's how you know the show is live. Frankly.
Sadly, yes.
It's actually really live.
There's people in control rooms in most places screaming, in the talent's ear saying, of course I shared the wrong screen again. Share screen too. No. Here's the problem.
Technical.
I didn't go back into presentation mode. There we go.
There you go.
It looks like the picture's there now, right? Yeah. So that's progress, maybe. Let me get my screen set back up because I got to see all my notes and everything else.
Hey, if it was easy, everybody would do it. So
That's right. Hey, we're live. You never know what kind of gong show, we need to get Tyler to put a bag of.
like I said, you had blue screen, Kent.
Yeah. We need to get Tyler to come through and with a bag on his head and be Gene the Dancing Machine. For those of you who ever recall the Gong
I almost
Show.
don't remember that, but yeah, I do.
You don't remember that?
I remember the Gong Show.
And it still didn't share. Come on, one more time. Drum roll, please. Scott.
I don't have a drum roll.
Oh man. Okay. All right. So here we go.
Okay, here we go.
So it's the Eurasian Blue Tit. Here we go. Well, let's listen to it.
Is it a very big bird?
No, small bird, little bird.
Oh. I like that.
Yep, you
That,
can hear
that
it's
bird's making kind of a drum roll.
So you can hear it. To me, it sounds like a chickadee. Well, there's a reason for that because it's in the tit family of birds, being chickadees, titmouse, and tits, and so it has that same sort of sound as the bird I know the titmouse and chickadee have. It's a passerine bird, and if you recall that passerine means it's from the order of Passeriformis, Latin, meaning sparrow-shaped, which is distinctive by the shape of their feet. They have 3 toes in front, 1 in back, and they account for more than half of all bird species, generally songbirds and perching birds. All right, and you ask how big it is. It's 4.2 to 4.7 inches long, head to beak to tail. So it's a very small bird, very acrobatic bird, very light, hangs on the ends of branches upside down when it's searching for its favorite food, insects. It's a very colorful bird, yellow on the breast, blue on the back.
I see.
I've gotten lost in my notes now. They're usually residential and not resident birds and non-migratory. From looking at the map on the screen, you can see why it's called the Eurasian, because it covers all of Europe and effectively all of Russia and significant parts of Asia. So it's
Africa.
Beautiful little bird, even down into Africa. Very pretty bird.
Very nice shot, Pekka.
Yeah.
Very good. So that looks like some sort of suet or something like that.
Yeah, it looks like a suet. I didn't ask him, but it's in obviously a little bag of some sort.
Bag, yeah.
And it looks like it's probably going to be suet with sunflower, maybe corn seeds and millet, barley, things like that.
Okay.
They nest in tree holes, although they adapt to or nesting boxes when they're available. Their main rival for nests and in searching food is the more common greater tit, which we don't have a picture of, but maybe Pekka will get us a picture of one. And I won't make a joke. They love insects and spiders for their diet, but they also eat seeds and other vegetable-based proteins, foods, like what Pekka is feeding them here. It's got an azure blue crown and a dark blue line that passes through the eye.
Very cool.
And encircles the white cheek to the chin. You can sort of see that here. Those lines are actually azure blue. The picture's taken in shadow and just I tried to bring out and enhance it a little bit, but it started looking real funky, so I didn't do it. The forehead and a bar on the wing are white, and the cheeks are white, as you can see in the picture. The nape, wings, and tail are all blue, and the back is sort of a yellowish green. The underparts, as you can see if you can see the picture in the video portion, the underparts are mostly sulfur yellow, and they have a dark line down the abdomen, which you can see in the picture, not so much in Pekka's picture.
Martin says it has a bandit face.
It does sort of have a masked Lone Ranger sort of appeal to it. Interestingly, the yellowness of its abdomen indicates how many caterpillars it's eating due to the high level of carotene pigments in the caterpillar diets. So the more caterpillars they eat, the more yellow they get. The bill is all black, the legs are bluish gray, and the iris of its eyes are a very dark brown.
Legs are bluish green. Okay.
Yep.
Wow.
Bluish gray. Bluish gray. A very colorful bird. The pictures, look them up. The blue tit. There are some really pretty pictures out there on the interwebs. The sexes are similar, so they're effectively monomorphic. But this is weird. But I found that under ultraviolet light, the males have a brighter blue crown. Now, I guess if you really want
Yeah, let's get one under ultraviolet light and check it
Yeah,
out.
if you really want to figure out which one the males are, I guess you could, put up an ultraviolet light in a
Wow.
dark area and try and get them to come in. So the younger blue tits are noticeably more yellow. So that's the Eurasian blue tit.
Yeah.
Very
nice. I love the shot. I love the composition, the shallow depth of field that Pekka used, and very cool.
And it's in really good, very, very, very narrow depth of field. You focus on the bag and then wait for the birds to come to it.
Yeah.
So playing it there in the background a little bit.
And I'm curious, Pekka, you're online right now. Did you use a telescope to photograph this with, or did you use one of your camera lenses? Maybe you can get us some details here.
So there's the blue tit. So now moving on, we're going to go next to another bird that Pekka got in the same food bag. The light was a little bit better here. This is the Eurasian tree sparrow.
Oh.
So obviously looking at the range map, it covers even more effectively more of Europe and Asia than the blue tit does, even going down into Southeast Asia, into Java, Malaysia, getting down in that neck of the woods. And interestingly, not a lot into Africa. So different distribution there. Let's listen to the call and then we'll talk about the bird. Generally, like most sparrows, it's just a series of chirps and chip notes.
Mm-hmm.
Generally travel in flocks. The birds are monomorphic, so the males and females look the same. A little bit bigger than the blue tit. These are 5 to 5.5 inches long. And for the people that have house sparrows, they're just slightly smaller than a house sparrow.
Mm-hmm.
The adult has a nape and crown that are very rich chestnut, which we can see the crown here, and the back of its neck is that same rich chestnut color. Has a kidney-shaped ear patch, which we can also see here in Pekka's picture, again taken from Stockholm. You can see that ear patch where my mouse is right here. And it has a pure white cheek that makes that ear patch stand out. It also has a black bib underneath its throat.
Mm-hmm.
Bill and throat is also black. The wings have 2 distinct narrow white wing bars, which you can't see in this picture, but over here in the video, if you're on a computer, on a phone, you probably can't see it. I'm sorry. This is interesting. I found it interesting. The bill changes color. In the summer, it's sort of a lead blue, metallic blue.
Okay.
And in the winter, it turns almost black. So the bill has a seasonal change in it. So, it's interesting how you'd think that just, okay, we know birds molt, but their bills change color. That's just,
Yeah, you would think that.
Yeah.
I don't know,
Like we heard the sparrow has no true song. Its vocalizations, like most sparrows or many sparrows, are just a series of chip calls.
So is the bill of a bird similar to like our fingernails or something? Do they?
I believe so.
And kind of slough off or something? And
I think it's just like it's our fingernails, but
or
more
horn maybe.
More like but yet like a beaver's tooth or muskrat's teeth have to be used. And they wear down. I suspect bird bills are the same way, although I don't know. We will answer that question next show. There you go. I'll answer that question. I'm going to write it down real quick.
Bird bills. Yeah.
I'll write down so don't forget.
The mechanics of bird bills.
Questions like that are fodder for the show, most assuredly. Okay. Eurasian tree sparrows and the little bit larger house sparrows often occur in the same area. The house sparrow breeds in urban areas. This is in Europe, while the smaller Eurasian tree sparrow nests in the countryside. Where trees are in short supply, both species utilize man-made structures. The Eurasian tree sparrow is rural in Europe, but this is weird. It becomes an urban bird in Eastern Asia, and the house sparrow becomes a rural bird. And they switch roles based on geography. I thought that was just weird. In parts of the Mediterranean, Italy, and Spanish, they're often found all in urban areas. And especially in Australia, the tree sparrow is the urban bird, and the house sparrow becomes more of a suburban and rural bird. Now, here's the weird part. In 1870, for those of you in the United States, we can see the Eurasian tree sparrow because just like the house sparrow, the Eurasian tree sparrow was imported into the United States. In 1870, a shipment of European birds from Germany was released in St. Louis to provide a familiar bird species for new settlers from Europe. I think that's just weird that to make them feel at home, they brought 12 Eurasian tree sparrows, and they obviously were eventually released and have found a niche in the hedge and woodlots of central Missouri and Iowa and Illinois. It's in the US, it's not a bird of the cities, using farm and residential areas. They've done a sound comparison of the chip notes between the American Eurasian tree sparrow and the Eurasian tree sparrow back in its original range. And they have fewer shared syllables than the European birds, and they have more structure to their calls than the European birds. That is probably because of lack of genetic diversity, since they started out with a grand population of 12 Eurasian tree sparrows. So again, this is a nice photo as well. Obviously, same area, a little bit wider view. I really liked it just because of the sort of the drama that's going on. You can see the wing spreads. Bird wings with the light coming through them are just beautiful. Obviously, there's a little, my guess, a battle for supremacy over Pekka's feed
that's
bag.
a great shot.
Yeah. So has Pekka told us what he shot with?
Yeah, he's using a Canon 600D and a 300 millimeter telephoto lens.
Okay, and I'm going to assume he's probably shooting through a window for this as well, would be my guess. So just a really nice shot, Pekka. You know, capturing the action real well. A little bit of movement gives you a good feeling of what's going on, and it sort of puts you in that scene of where they're going. And you can tell, you can see the foot of one of these birds real well. You can see it has 3 toes in front and 1 toe in back, making it a passerine or a perching bird. All right, so moving on now, we move. Yeah, we move back to the United States at this point, and we go to a Norm Hughes photo of
Wow.
the Western tanager. So let's listen
Wow.
to the Western
bird.
I told you we had some pretty birds, so here we go.
Yeah, that's really beautiful.
Yeah.
I had no idea that this bird was in the United States. Norm's photo is better than the one in the little video there.
Yeah, the one that it changed to, I think that shows an immature bird. It's not, or
What's
a
that?
female. It shows a female, I think. Okay, so we've listened to that a little bit.
Female.
I think it's a female. Yeah. So go ahead.
No, go ahead.
Okay, looking at the range map, migration, Scott, actually, we could potentially see one that's a little bit off course because it splits Oklahoma in half, Kansas and Nebraska. So in that yellow range, we could see one. We're close enough because like Dan likes to say, you know, birds don't follow maps and borders. They don't rely on what we tell them where they have to go. So, Norm got this picture out west.
Norm says this was taken in Carlsbad, New Mexico. And Pekka says you can calibrate your screen colors with that bird.
Yeah, you probably could. And the green in those trees, yeah. So
yeah, it does look
nice.
like a tropical bird, as Harold comments here. So
yeah, it does look like it. Tropical birds tend, you think of parrots and things like that, really colorful birds. The hotter tropical it is. So this is a bigger bird. The Western tanager is 6.3 to 7.5, so 7.5 inches long. The males have flame orange red on their chin and forehead, while the females are yellowish with dark wings and 2 wing bars. So I'm going to say that picture we have frozen on the song that we were talking about on the song video is going to be a female. The Western tanager favors open woods all over the Western U.S. They particularly favor evergreens, where they can very often stay hidden from view, but because of their nearly constant song, you can hear them up in the trees foraging for insects. Their short burry song and low chuckling call notes make it easy to identify them. They eat fruits and sometimes buds of trees, in addition to all the bugs that makes up the vast majority of their diet. They can be attracted to backyards by putting out dried fruit, freshly cut oranges, and other fresh fruit. They also benefit from moving water, small backyard, fish ponds, and bird baths also help attract the birds to your backyard. A note of caution: when you're putting out fresh fruit, be sure to monitor that fruit, not leave it out and let it get molded, because there are mold toxins that can prove deadly to birds that eat them. Frankly, they're much like this next bird we're going to go to. Again, this is just a beautiful shot. So it's in Carlsbad. Where'd you say? Carlsbad, New Mexico?
Carlsbad, New Mexico.
Is that, I'm presuming that's where Carlsbad Cavern is, somewhat close to that would be my guess.
I guess, don't know.
Yeah. So looking at New Mexico, that's going to be in the heart of the breeding zone. Just a beautiful bird,
Dusty Haskins says, seeing all these beautiful pics solidifies it for me. I was torn between a drone and a new lens for my camera, but I think I've made up my mind.
I'm going to say that's going to be a new lens for his camera, not a drone.
I think
not
so.
a drone. Yep. All right. One more
Well, Norm
time for the
says
song.
he lives at Carlsbad Caverns.
Oh, okay.
Maybe not in the cave.
Okay. Norm, we need a picture of the bats flying out of the cave. When the bats start flying, we can get some pictures of that. Or
Yeah.
even better, get us some video, because I've never seen it, but it's got to be spectacular. All right. So
That's awesome, Norm.
there's the
So
song.
he said
again.
he sent a photo of bat flying out of the cave.
I don't remember seeing it. Send that to me again, Norm. I don't remember that one. I must not have saved it. So just send it to me again. So Norm also got another bird that, Scott, we could see here in Arkansas during migration. I have never seen one. And,
What is that?
It's a yellow-headed blackbird.
What?
Yeah. It's a.
No, I have never. No, I've never.
I've seen the black-headed blackbirds, which is just a blackbird, but I've never seen an orange-headed, a yellow-headed blackbird. And I have just discovered that in working on this, I did not get any information about the yellow-headed Blackbird. So very quickly, through the miracle, I worked on it. I must have overwritten it. Through the miracle of the internet, or All right, they have a golden head, as we can see. They have a white patch on their black wings and a call that sounds like a rusty farm gate opening. Okay, let's listen to the rusty farm gate opening. Okay, I can hear a rusty gate opening.
These birds are in conservation status, and it's special concern in Michigan and in California.
Yeah, there was a interesting call.
Good Lord. No, hold my life. I've never seen that.
So, see, Scott, we're going to have to go to the migration in the spring down into Karstner Caverns or somewhere to go birding.
Yeah.
So, all right. So the yellow-headed blackbird, western and prairie wetlands, where they nest in reeds directly over the water. So they tend to be much like the red-winged blackbirds.
Mm-hmm.
And their call is somewhat similar. I can sort of hear that red-winged blackbird sort of thing. And like other blackbirds, huge flocks of them roll across the fields in the fall, picking up seeds from the ground, and just flocks all the time. They eat seeds and grains, including sunflower seeds. I'm looking for the size.
Says the yellow-headed blackbirds are strongly territorial during the breeding season.
Okay,
They
and
prefer
these,
nesting in marshes above water, 2 to 4 deep.
yeah. So they're 8 to 10 inches long, so they're good-sized birds, like a standard blackbird. They're a very good-sized bird, but it's just spectacular-looking critter. And again, I'm going to have to start looking for these in flocks of birds in the spring when the spring migration comes through, because I want to get this. I've actually going to start a life list of birds. I've been sort of taking some notes, but I've got a National Geographic field guide ordered, and I'm going to start taking notes of birds on my list and writing it down like my dad did,
So,
the date and location in there.
Kent, since you started doing this show, I mean, has this show really improved your, have you really started noticing a bunch of different birds out on your property? And
Yeah, I haven't been spending a lot of time out on the property. We'd go out there just to do work, and you're working and not doing much. The property is wide open. It's a sort of a wetland in part of it. So we're going to have a lot of sparrows and water available for the birds. And I'm going to build a blind out there. After I get the house built or with scraps, I'm going to build a blind specifically.
We have a blind that we sell.
I'm going to just build a permanent blind out there that's got a good roof on it, and so we can get
out there with cameras.
Get out there with a camera and take pictures. So just a beautiful bird. You can't really see that white wing bar in either one of these pictures, but just crazy looking bird. And just beautiful. It's almost like a joke. It's like you can just think about, God, going, I'm going to make a blackbird with a yellow head. That'll be funny.
Right.
And so
it's great.
Don't have much about it, but just a beautiful bird. And Scott, yes, to answer your question, Dad and Mom would go on Sunday drives. And as I said before, I have his Peterson field guide where he wrote down dates of birds that he saw.
Yeah.
And he never, I don't know if you've ever seen, I haven't seen him. He never talked about a life list, but it would be interesting. And I remember we literally never took vacations except to go to see family like at Christmas.
Sure.
And in 1974, we took a trip to Galveston, Texas. It's really one of the only trips he took until I was a little bit older.
Mm-hmm.
And one of the things I can remember him talking about the birds he wanted to see along the Gulf Coast. And part of the trip was to just go to the Gulf Coast. Now, it was in June probably, and blazing already hot, it's just miserable hot.
Yeah.
I got sunburned really bad. Ended up going to the emergency room, and we were camping on the beach, and got just blistered, and so got a hotel room, and so my brother always thanks me for that, because camping on the beach involves sand.
Yes, it
And
does.
we were in an old canvas pop up. Everybody knows exactly the metal bars that pop up. One room, 4 of us in there, brutally hot in the day and just miserably hot at night. So Andy thanks me for getting sunburned. So we got to spend the last part of the vacation in a hotel room.
Yeah.
So moving on, we're going to go to the hooded Oriole. We have Orioles here, but we don't have a hooded Oriole.
All these birds look so exotic,
Well, that's what you get when you're in the, out in the desert, and where you all these birds coming up out of, Mexico.
Mhm.
So again, looking at the range map, I'm not sure where Carlsbad is, but it just cuts the corner of Mexico, or of New Mexico. But
Okay.
as birds don't follow these maps. These are just sort of general ideas. So this bird is 8 inches long. Males are black-headed and black-chinned, with brilliant yellow or orange bodies. Females are a subdued yellow, and they have gray wings. So here we go. Let's listen to this bird, the hooded Oriole. Hear that dove in the background?
Yeah. Yeah.
So here's an interesting thing. They also often remain hidden in the canopy, and they're acrobatic when they're feeding and foraging, but their near constant call makes them, again, easy to identify. The call is a mix of various notes, trills, and chips and chirps, but they also mimic other birds. So they're a mimicker as well. So that adds a little bit of intrigue, depending on what birds they've picked up their calls to mimic. Now, this is interesting. Their coloration depends on their location. So in Texas and eastern Mexico, they're orange, like this one, right? But in western and southwestern United States and western Mexico, they're yellow. So this is a yellow bird that Carl Bernhardt, didn't give a shout out to Carl.
Yeah.
This is a yellow bird in a yellow phase, and he got an orange one in the orange phase right there. Okay, so
Harold wanted to know, is it seasonal or is it geographic?
these birds, let's go back to the migration map. So I'm going to say, based
Because
on
you've got hooded oracle, orange phase. Does that mean it changes?
no, it's geographic location. It's a subspecies, would be my guess. So it's not. It's a. They call it a phase, but it's really, there's an orange version and a yellow version that's geographically separated. Obviously, being in Mexico, I'm going to guess he's right on the boundary, so their populations mix. So
I really like that stark, deep black face that they have, and
yeah, again, looks like a cat burglar almost. But
kind of.
Orioles are cool birds, and there's a hooded Oriole female that looks like, I'm going to say this is a female because it doesn't have the black mask on it. Let's see, what do we got? Like other Orioles, they'll use hummingbird feeders and also easily attract to backyards where you put out fresh orange halves and dollops of grape jelly. I have friends
Grape jelly
that put out grape jelly and will go to the store and cause a run on oranges because they'll buy them by the gigantic bag and cut them in halves or quarters and put them out. They generally have a board that they stick them to so they stay upright. And
Okay.
when the migration happens, and we'll see some pictures. I will grab some pictures from some people when it happens. They'll have 20, 30 male orioles in their backyard feeding on orange slices and orange hunks and grape jelly. So they're also we'll go to bird feeders. One thing I saw said to drill out the hole in the bird feeder to make it easier for the orioles to get the sugar water out. And the sugar water is the same mixture you make for hummingbirds as well. So like other orioles, the females weave a hanging nest underneath leaves, on the underside of leaves. It takes them 3 to 6 days to make the nest. And generally the nest is a basket that is 4 inches deep. So that is the hooded oriole, a spectacular bird.
Goodness. Yeah, I'm looking at Oriole bird feeders that have oranges on them and a small glass of grape jelly.
Yeah, grape jelly. I don't know. I've often wondered, it might be interesting. I may have to contact some of the people that do it and say, okay, I want you to put grape jelly in some and strawberry in another and blackberry in
I'm
another.
sure that it's been done. I'm
because everything I've always seen, they say grape jelly. So it might be the cheapest and most ubiquitous. So that's why they use grape. I don't know.
A feeder with an upside down jar of grape jelly, with that's oozing out the jelly for him to eat.
Yeah, share your. I can unshare real quick.
Yeah, hold on for a second. I'm looking at it on my other computer, but let me do this.
Yeah.
Uh,
Yeah, Scott looks like a NASA control room. He's got, I don't know, 15, 20 monitors and
no,
lights and switch boxes. No, he's got, 3 monitors, 1 big one and 2 small ones.
yeah.
And I don't know.
So here
More computer power than NASA had in its Apollo.
That's in my iPhone, actually. So
You're sharing. You just shared our Zoom.
Okay, hold on.
Our says our Zoom.
Our Zoom
Mini,
Zoom?
Our Zoom.
Here we go. Here we are. So look at this. Here's the
It's
Conquer
just a,
grape jelly feeder. Okay. I like this one too. You got a nice cup of grape jelly over here and a couple of oranges. Hanging upside down, eating orange. Did he get? Oh, I thought he got.
that's a
trapped.
milk jug. Go back to that other one, Scott. Go back.
This one?
That's just a water bottle that has ports cut in the side.
Yeah.
And then sticks, little holes poked so they
Like
get some
chopsticks or something, or
purchase a dowel, a little wooden dowel through the outside.
Oh yeah, I just stuck it through there.
Yeah, and then another wooden dowel for the oranges to stick on so they can perch and peck out the flesh of the
jelly.
orange.
Yeah.
Yeah, that's a
There's
cool picture.
Right. Let's just put some jelly in that plastic flower there. Very cool.
That looks like something that Sheldon would do.
Yeah. I'm sure this is just like, they see this and they're just like going crazy,
Yeah, but grape jelly.
Most amazing. There were some hatch chilies there, but
Yeah, I'm not sure. I bet they wouldn't like a hatch chili jelly.
you never know.
If it's sweet enough, yeah. All right, so
let's there we go.
all right, let me get the Zoom. Okay, there we go. So back to the hooded oriole in the yellow phase. And now we're to our last bird, which is a completely different direction. Well, let's do 5 birds, and this was the first bird I came up with. And so
Salton Sea.
yep, the Salton Sea. This is Mike Wiesner. Got a picture of a royal tern. In the scheme of the birds we generally look at, this is a really big bird, 18 to 20 inches long. Let's listen to it real quick. I don't know how it makes that. I want to know how it makes that water sound of waves coming in. Oh well, I missed it.
Yeah, maybe the Salton Sea. What do you think?
Okay, so I think about Mike talking about memorizing the sounds and being able to identify all these birds by sound.
Yeah.
And I guess if you sit there and listen to it 20 times over a week and really try to commit it to memory, you can do it. I've not tried to do that, but it's would be interesting to try. So anyway, 18 to 20 inches long. The breeding birds sport, and they're monomorphic. The breeding, I couldn't find anything that said they weren't monomorphic, so let's say that. Breeding birds sport a black crest, while non-breeding birds have white crests. Okay, so if you look at the picture on the video, that one has a black crest on the top. You can't see it in Mike's picture, so I don't know if he
He's got a nice fish in his beak.
He does have a breakfast fish in his beak. The white necks and a light gray body. If you start looking closely, the picture of the video shows they have a light gray body, not whack. The most obvious feature, other than the black crest, is their bright orange, long, pointed beak, right? And we can see what that long, pointed beak is for, because seabirds eat sea fish. From underneath, the wings are black on the tips. About a third of the wings are black, and their folded black legs appear clearly under their white body, as you can see in Mike's picture, right? They're shorebirds, which they frequent warm saltwater coasts. The shore map shows them going on the west coast up maybe to San Francisco, and then on the eastern United States, possibly up into Massachusetts, Cape Cod neck of the woods, and the Cuba, Caribbean, Bahamas as well. They use their very graceful flyers that suddenly pitch over into a steep dive to use that beak to spear their fish.
Wow.
And come up with a breakfast of fish. They gather in flocks on beaches and nest in large colonies. And this is interesting. I was amazed by this. In Southern California, where this photo was taken, the most prolific tern was the royal tern, where it is now very rare. And some reports show only maybe 20 to 30 breeding pairs in Southern California.
Oh, wow.
And so what caused this population crash was the Pacific sardine population crashed a couple of decades ago and hasn't recovered, while the northern anchovy boomed. So because of what their preferred food is, it disrupted their food supply. But because there was this boom of anchovies, I can't speak. The once fairly rare elegant tern is now the most prolific tern in California. So they switched places. So obviously getting the royal tern is an interesting a catch for Mike, where they are pretty rare. They are very sensitive to disturbance in their nesting colonies, which is causing a population decline. Human population is spreading along our coasts. That, combined with erosion from sea level rise, creates lost coastal habitat that threatens their nesting sites, and it's forcing them to seek new breeding grounds. It is very rare to see a royal tern inshore off the coast. Typically, when they are found on the interior, is after hurricanes, when they've been blown there by the hurricane. So that's the royal tern. Beautiful bird. Thank you, Mike, for the photo.
Very nice.
And taken in the Salton Sea, we had the American avocet a few weeks ago. If you remember, has that long curved bill. That is an odd looking bird, also from the Salton Sea. And we've got a few more birds that we'll see from Mike from the Salton Sea as well, probably on the next show. I think we got 3 more birds that he sent in. So again, send me your birds. If you're proud of them, we're proud of them. You don't have to be, it's sort of like why we do the astrophotography contest. You don't have to be Jack Newton,
Mike Newton.
and Jack Wiesner. Can't believe I did that. I was looking at his name. So you don't have to be Jack Newton to win our contest. Send your pictures in for the astrophotography contest. Okay, Scott.
Yes.
We're going to do it. We're going to have a bird photo contest. I'm going to get it set up.
Good.
And we'll have a bird photo contest and give away some
binoculars.
I was going to say gum, but okay, we'll do binoculars. Yeah.
How about some grape jelly and some oranges?
We could do that as well. Yeah, for sure. And for the best Oriole picture, we'll give
Oriole picture. We give you
we'll give them a coupon for
I'm going to Sam
jelly.
Club over here and get you one of those big grape jellies.
Yeah,
so
yeah. Somebody has to help you carry it out. It's such a big
that's right. It's in a
grape
5-gallon drum.
So anyway, last but not least, here's another flyer. It's a wasp of some sort on a Virginia waterleaf. So if you start looking in there, you see this big one over here.
Yeah.
Right? But there's one right there, just a tiny little fella.
Yeah.
There's one right there. And I was trying to find more. I think that's the only one. But, there are all manner of wee beasties out there. And if you look on this wasp, I don't think it's not a honeybee. It may be a bee of some sort. But you see these yellow patches?
Yeah.
It's packing away the stuff to take back to the hive to make into some kind of honey. So,
I see.
All right. So that's this week's show.
Awesome.
5 interesting birds, all submitted by readers. More to come. I said readers again, viewers, although you might be reading on the screen. So that makes you readers as well. Send us your birds. I enjoy doing the research. It's really making me listen to birds more, and when we go to star parties now, it gives us something else to talk about in the daytime, because I think this show is showing that astronomers have an interest in other things as well. It's not just astronomy, and we can launch into
that's true.
a whole different, like
amazing creatures in our universe. So right?
Look, we're going to the Winter Star Party. Can we announce that publicly, or is that a secret, Scott?
It's not a secret.
Okay,
No.
So I guess it's not a secret now since I just said it. So
yeah, Scott and we're going to the Winter Star Party, right? It's not a secret, right?
Yeah, right. So we're going to the Winter Star Party this year, which we will do some bird watching down there. I will get some birds.
Oh yeah.
For my life list.
They've got those giant nests that are up there. It's pretty cool.
You can get
there's a lot of wildlife there. It's really cool.
Seagulls, all sorts of birds we'll get down there. Might actually try and do a bird show while we're down there. Maybe. We're going to be broadcasting from down there, aren't we, Scott? That's the plan.
That's the plan. That's the evil plan. So we'll see if we get fast enough internet to do that. So the organizers of Winter Star Party are checking into that with the satellite dish. There's also the possibility of a kind of an industrial level type of 5G connection, that might work. So we'll have to see. I broadcast here with 200 up and 200 down. So, which, at times even that is a little problematic, but I have done broadcasting with as little as like 5 megabytes. So
But it's got,
not very high resolution stuff, but
does it buffer? Does it cause
sometimes,
buffering? Yeah.
sometimes, yeah, because it chokes a little bit. So especially if you're running other video or something like that. So, but yeah, we'll try it anyways. I mean, it can't hurt, and you'll hear from amateur astronomers direct at the Winter Star Party. Maybe give you an idea of what that star party is all about, and then you can put it on your bucket list of great star parties to attend.
If you've never been to a star party, the Winter Star Party is a good one because it's so far south for most of us in the United States. They're southern.
Warm.
It's warm. It's weird to look up the first night and see Orion in the wrong place. It's like, wait a minute, Orion's not supposed to be that far north. What's going on here?
Yeah.
And you can see some southern sky jewels you can't see, and it's warm.
And the sky is the
dark,
sky can be
south.
very, very steady.
Yeah,
I mean,
you get this laminar flow comes in where
Mm-hmm.
there's no wide temperature variations, and it's just laminar winds coming in off the ocean of all the same temperature.
Mhm.
It can get really, really steady, and
you can boost the magnification.
Yes.
Make sure your telescope is collimated, because we've seen people push their telescopes to 100 power per inch, which is, most people will tell you, your scope's only good for 50 to 60 power per inch, except when you have, arc second or sub-arc second seeing conditions.
and that happened one night. I've talked about this before.
Mhm.
Paul Anderson had his C14 out, and we started stacking Barlows, and I don't remember what it was, but Jupiter was almost filled the eyepiece, and
Wow.
you could see the festooning. You can see the bands, but
Yeah.
you could see other bands, and you could see little curly cues in there. It was truly astounding, and people next to us, they're just talking, and they go, you don't really have it that much power, do you? And we go, yeah, take a look. It was Barlows like that. I mean, it's like 3 or 4 Barlows, and
It's like curving. Yeah.
it was, and
Mhm.
but it was still. And they'd go off, and they'd start doing it, and somebody come over, and you'd hear the voice in the darkness going, "Does somebody really have Jupiter at this power?" We'd say, "Yeah, come look." And they go, I won't say it on a live broadcast of the archive, "Holy something or other." And then
Yeah.
they go back and start doing it. So it was pretty cool. That's the only night I've ever had that it was like that.
Yeah, I was once in 1983. I was at the Texas Star Party, and we had it was just as the sun had set, but Mars was in the sky, and it was so detailed. I just couldn't believe it. And the whole sky was just, no twinkling at all. It was just incredible. It happens. So
Anyway, come to the Winter Star Party if you can. It's last like January the 30th through February the 6th or something like that. Registration's open.
I'll give you the exact dates right here.
It's go to scas.org, Southern Cross Astronomical Society, scas.org.
January 31st through February 6th.
Yep, nailed it. Okay.
Registration's still open. They still have spots available. But this star party can fill up pretty quick. So,
And it doesn't hold as many people as it used to because the hurricane destroyed the Girl Scout camp, basically.
right.
And there's
They've been working on it year by year, but the first year that they decided to go back, to the Keys, because for 1 year the camp was so destroyed after that big hurricane that we went up to Chiefland, Florida, for their star party up there. So it's quite a bit further north than down in the Keys, but the Keys experience and astronomy is really something you should check out, because You're going to see Southern Hemisphere objects. You are going to be in just a beautiful kind of exotic kind of area. It's going to be warm. In the evenings or in the afternoon or whatever, you can head on down to Key West and have a nice lunch or an evening dinner down there. It's really cool. So lots of things to do.
And you got to remember, that's in the heart of the tourist season. So, you can camp on site.
Yeah.
So for a modest fee, it's not like renting a hotel room every
the
night.
Star Party is it's $175 for the duration. Camping is $125. Now that might seem a little pricey, but a hotel room, and I'm talking about a motel room. Okay, not a nice motel room, can be $150 a night. Okay, so
over two
RV spots down there, and they have RV places down there. They're usually almost always filled, and it's over $100 a night to park your RV. Okay, so this is a deal. It is a super deal to be down there in that spot in such a beautiful locale, and to wake up and see the morning sunrise over the ocean. It's beautiful.
And you're about the observing field, edge of the observing field on the berm is maybe 30 feet from the ocean.
Right.
Yeah. I mean, you're literally right there.
And
lots to do. We've gone snorkeling before, taking a day excursion out onto the reef.
Yep.
And done, snorkeling, and, my kids fed the fish from the boat, which means they got seasick and emptied the contents into the water that caused the feeding frenzy. It's pretty cool to see that happen.
Yeah.
Not for the kids. I got a picture I need to find. Everything I have is in storage. Because sold my house and I'm going to build a new one. I've got this picture of my oldest daughter, and she's literally green on the ride back. And my oldest son, Jeff, is laughing at her. But she's literally green and he keeps saying, I told you to take some Dramamine. I told you to take some Dramamine. So anyway, if you're going to go out on a boat, and you're not used to it, take some Dramamine, because you're going to need it.
You're going to need it. All right.
5:00.
Okay. Well, thank you, everybody.
Any more comments
watching, on the wing with us?
Any more comments? Everybody's good?
Andrew Corkill was mentioning that in Riverside, California, that occasionally gets some subarc second seeing. He had 800 power on his ED-152, which is just a 6-inch scope. That's over 100 power per inch. And he said the planets were amazing. So that's the really cool thing about great seeing conditions and a well-collimated ED-apo refractor. So it can make some really amazing views. But you're absolutely right, Andrew. It's the reason why we have Palomar Observatory and Mount Wilson Observatory and other observatories in Southern California, because once you start getting up higher, you get into world-class seeing conditions, which is really awesome. So, all right. It's a pleasure having you all with us this evening. We are going to be doing a focus on astrophotography show tomorrow, so you'll want to tune in for that. And then we have regular programming for next week, including next Tuesday's Global Star Party, our 73rd Global Star Party called Falling Stars. So it coincides with the Lyrid meteor shower. So, or maybe Leonid. Leonids, that's right.
I think it's the Leonids.
I think it is too. All right. Take care. Thanks everyone for your great comments, and we'll see you soon.